What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the Warsheep Podcast. Listen, this topic and conversation has been being put off for quite some time. It's just the Holy Spirit hasn't been ready to really strike on this one, right? But the Most High is the best of planners. So, in light of recent situations, this is most fitting to handle right now. So, we're going to go ahead and jump into this thing.
Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore? If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
So, it's been brought to my attention a few things, and what I'm going to be addressing here today is a particular sin or few sins that usually fly right under the radar, just based on your normal habits and process, things that you typically would probably do on a day-to-day basis, habits that you may have been developing. And I believe that whatever demonic spirit possesses you to do it may give you excuses as to why it's okay, but truly, it's really not okay. You know, certain things have to be done properly. Now, it's been brought to my attention in recent times that there has been a tremendous amount of issues going on in Michigan when I fellowshiped there with a few brothers. And those particular issues have never been brought to me directly, right? But they have been spoken about to other individuals, as well as being mentioned, all based on the exposure during my testimonies. One thing I would really like to address is this, but no, this is not about me, y'all. I'm just using my experience as an example to be able to shed to shed some light on some things that you may need to address within your own life. You may need to address this within your own spirit, because this is a silent killer, y'all, of your faith, of your salvation. This is a silent killer. You understand? Meaning it can go in and it can creep in unaware. You don't even know. Like, seriously. So, without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and jump into this video here real quick and listen to a video, what Pastor Rufus has to say. And then we're going to come on back. All right, y'all? Let's go ahead and jump into it real quick. All right. Let's go.
That's just one small thing. But do that mean I don't support what the brother's doing? Absolutely not. I'm definitely going to support it. Why? This man is out here putting out truth. So let's get to the first thing. I said I'm going to address it, and I'm going to do it in a shotgun form. I'm going to do it shotgun because there are saints out there that actually have issues with me supporting Brother Ryan. Now, again, my personal experience with Brother Ryan from when he was in Michigan and when he was in Texas has been nothing but good. I have zero bad experiences with Brother Ryan. Has Brother Ryan had issues in Michigan? Yes, you saw it on his video. He put it out there. Did he have issues in Houston? Yes. But with Pastor Rufus? No. With Elder Rufus? No. With Brother Rufus? No. We've never had an issue. So,
would you be interested in collecting 5-figure paychecks for a few hours of work, helping me in your spare time?
some feel like because I will support certain things that he do, that it's a bad representation for me. Because what people do is say, okay, like right now, I'm not telling you to go over and listen to all of Brother Ryan's teachings. What I'm telling you is this video right here, elders can get away with murder. The scriptures used to control your voice is a good video. I listened to this video. I came in midway last night because I was busy. Then I went back this morning while I was working out and listened to the rest of it. And that's why I'm going to do this reaction to a 10-minute segment of, because he pointed on some stuff that's very, very important that saints need to know that is going on in this maliciousness, this cloak of it, and this bewitchment that you're under. All right. None of us will probably ever agree with all of us on everything we do. But what Brother Ryan is doing, in my personal opinion, is a noble, honorable, respectable thing. Why? Because he's out here warning the people about this rogue leadership that's going on and affecting not just Straightway, it's affecting Israel, y'all. Because the book says when one part of the body hurts, the entire body hurts. I believe that. I believe that. So I have to admonish and honor and respect this brother for at least being man enough to come out and speak against these things. And guess what? It's actually part of his personal testimony and experience with Straightway. What is one of the most damning things we're talking about with this ministry, starting with Charles Woodrow Dow Jr.? Is it not the lack of love?
That's right.
Is it not that? That's what Ryan feels like he experienced with Straightway as a whole. So what's wrong with him testifying about it? It may not be your testimony. It may not be. You may feel he's a liar. You may feel he's deceptive. You may even feel that the reason why he's making videos is not a righteous reason. Let y'all judge that then. I see sincerity. When he's making these videos, I see sincerity. I see a man that is trying to warn the sheep. He's trying to show them this is what's going on. How can I not honor that? How can I not represent that? And here's the thing. I don't care where truth comes from. I'm going to receive it. And a lot of what Brother Ryan says, especially about the leadership of Straightway. Now, if you notice, I'm not talking about his relationship with the Saints in Michigan when he was there. I'm not talking about his relationship with the Saints in Texas. Why? I don't have that experience. I wasn't there. I wasn't involved. I'm not going to speak on that. But the stuff this brother's saying, the stuff Brother Nick is saying, the stuff Big Screen B is saying, the stuff that Prince of Power and people like that are saying about the leadership of Straightway is truth, and you should grab it. Don't let personal feelings about people and personal past experiences make you reject the truth just because it's coming from somebody that you don't agree with. We can't be like that, saints. I would receive the truth from Charles Woodrow Dow Jr. right now if he was speaking in it. I would, because I love the truth. I love Yah. I hope I made that clear. That was one of the things I said I wanted to deal with today. I was going to address the Brother Ryan situation.
Yeah. Yes, sir. You made that very clear. And I appreciate you sticking your neck out there for me. And going to bat there and speaking on that particular situation. My thing is that Pastor Rufus, like I said, thank you, sir. But also, you should not have to be put in that position to have to defend that. You should not have to be put in a position to have to defend your support of what the truth is. And it brings it to my, it makes me really concerned, because those same issues that are spoken about have never been brought to me. And then so that right there is the reason why I'm currently addressing this video. Now this video is not for me. This video is not center focused around me. This is for the saints of the Most High Yah. This is for the body of Christ, because we need to expose the issues and problems within our communities in Israel. We need to expose those things. And that is just one of them among many. But this is one of them that is a silent killer. And it is in abundance in the ministry of Straightway, In the ministry of Straightway, this particular spirit, this particular gossiping spirit, the spirit of sowing discord is an abundance of it within that ministry. And even the individuals who brought that information to Pastor Rufus, I can't agree with those individuals. The reason why I can't agree with them is because that wasn't my experience. I did not experience what they may have been telling him, which is a bad relationship with those brothers in Michigan. Yeah, of course. I mean, I've had it out with a couple brothers. Who hasn't? My thing is that, you know, when it came to settling those things, if I was able to settle it, we settled it and we moved on from it. But when you get personalities together, especially personalities like mine, I'm a big personality, and then you have confusion mixed in with that. Because not only was I treated as though I was a number two, but I also was operating within that role based on a phone call. Now, I'm going to say this. Pastor Rufus called me the day that Straightway Michigan was first formed. After the meeting in Detroit, where Pastor Dow and Elder Rufus, or Pastor Rufus now, came out there to Detroit. He called me, I believe, the following day, or he called me soon after and let me know that Brother Juan and another brother, Brother Corey, would be the ones who was running Michigan, but I would be over Grand Rapids. That's what he told me. Now, we had one fellowship or two fellowships, and I met Juan, and we, you know, kicked it a bit. Now, trust me, this didn't sit right with me to have two other men that he said will be running Michigan, and then me personally over at Grand Rapids. You know, I didn't know those men, and I wasn't too comfortable with it. So let me be honest with it, right? But, you know, that's just me. You know what I mean? Personally, my background is I've always had a company. I've had a crew of guys who I had to have on projects and jobs and also ride out jobs. So I've always been in a position to where I'm like conducting things or organizing things. That's just kind of where it's been. So that's the reason why my level of discomfort is where it was at, because I wasn't too sure as what their leadership skills were. So, but after we met, you know, Juan and I, we all hung out, spent time together. Juan called me over the phone and said, I do not trust Brother Corey, and I want you to be my number two. That's what he told me. And I was like, well, hallelujah. Now, was that officially announced to the assembly? It never was officially announced to the assembly, but he had me operating in that role behind the scenes. And so when I'm conducting myself in this role, you got brothers who are looking at me like, why are you doing these things? You know what I'm saying? You're not even in this position. So it could gender some sort of strife or contention because they feel as though that I'm overstepping my bounds or overstepping what I should be doing or performance wise based on my position as a brother. Right. And them not understanding that, you know, based on what he told me and what he told Zach Dow, as far as me being number two in Michigan, that they didn't feel I held that title and that I was just doing things willy-nilly. So I believe that it would gender some sort of strife amongst the brethren. But like I said, they never brought it to me. Never. They never said a word to me. And that's where the sowing of discord is, because they run and they spit in the ear of Pastor Rufus to try to get him and pull his support from me. Right now, this is what people do in the world. This is what people do in Hollywood. They try to use their prestige or influence to be able to pull somebody from being able to work in the business or being able to have support in the business. This is worldly things we're talking about here. And when somebody is guilty of something that has of a charge that's been levied against them, they tend to work behind the scenes to gain somebody else's opinion and gain somebody else's, honestly, support. Pull your support from this person and support me, because that individual is a liar. He's a deceiver. He's this, he's that, he's this. Things that you could not say to me in my face. And trust me, we've been on a recent phone call before, right? In which, honestly, tell you guys the truth, I've been not on phone calls like that. I've been really trying to get closer to Yah, get closer to the Father. And it has not been pressed upon my heart to have my phone lines open to have phone conversations. But I did have this one, as well as I talked to my mother here and there. I had this one with this particular brother, a couple of brothers, and they never mentioned any issues within Michigan that I did. So my thing is, but they did try to get me to admit or commit to actually, or to admit that I repented for some problems that I never remembered repenting for. The only thing that people had an issue with is me making a video on Facebook in regards to my situation that was blasted out there by Pastor Dow. Outside of that, I don't know what issues, where. I may have had one brother who had an out or a grudge against me for quite some time because I rebuked him for working on the Sabbath. I rebuked him for doing certain things that were out of line, that were not lined up with the book. And he got rebuked for not following the scriptures. That is not sowing of discord. That's open rebuke is better than secret love. As well as testing and trying the spirits, because I already knew that this particular brother had an issue with the offense. And I'm testing and trying the spirit of offense on him to see who he is really. Is he somebody who can overcome the rebuke and can be able to put it aside and still love on his brother without any malice or ill will, which we're going to get into a few scriptures about this. But it turned out that I was absolutely right, in which Juan confirmed that I was right during Passover. He said that brother Andre, had a spirit of offense on him, and it was difficult for him to shake it. He could never shake that spirit of offense. And then that's the reason why he got put out the ministry. My thing is that if I got brothers confirming that I was right about certain people and the spirits that were on those individuals, my spirit of discernment must have been on point. One thing that I did not discern, though, is that I would have issues with every individual in Michigan. This is the first time that I've heard this ever, that I've had problems in Michigan besides the split. You know what I'm saying? And then besides making that video on Facebook, outside of that, we pretty much understood. Sometimes you got to test and try the spirit. Open rebuke is better than secret love. I brought it to them brothers. Now, this particular brother Andre, he would say things behind my back, but not to my face. And to other brothers to influence them in a certain way, right? That is a sower of discord, someone who's gossiping, someone who's doing something, smiling in your face, but truly behind the scenes, they do not mean you well. They've been talking really bad about you, and they've been trying to sway other people over to their position. That is a sower of discord. A sower of discord is not somebody who's calling shit out for a brother that they see in a brother, that they see he's lacking in, that they see he's struggling with. And let's go ahead and jump into it, because we're going to get into a few of these things that I believe is a very, very abundant problem within Israel, within ministries, it doesn't really matter. So anyone who calls himself a Christ follower, this is an abundant issue nowadays. It's almost as though it's a way of life. And that way of life is going to sacrifice your eternal salvation. You're going to wind up in hell because of these sins. These are silent salvation killers. These are silent salvation killers. Things that you won't even, that you know may not be right, but you don't really realize it because you're so used to doing it. Now, let's go ahead and pull this thing up. Wow. We're going to go over to Proverbs. Proverbs 6:16. All right. These 6 things doeth Lord hate. Ye 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that what devis wickedness or wicked imaginations, feet that be swift to running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord amongst the brethren. Now, one thing that I do know for sure is that a lot of people believe that they know what sowing discord is amongst the brethren. But truly, do they really? Do they really understand what this is? Do you really understand what showing discord is? Now, only thing that we can do is associate discord with different what? Spirits, things that would accommodate it, things that would represent discord. Okay. And since we do know that open rebuke is better than secret love, when you go to your brother and you have your out with your brother and you go to your brother and your brother alone and you let them know what that problem is, how are you showing discord? By allowing them to understand the issues. For example, Trey Moore, we had the issues. He was expressing different things whenever I was, of course, doing things business wise that were successful and earning great income. He would express it in a way as to where he may have been envious of that, saying different things that were not inspiring, but was almost depressed in ways. And so his spirit was always pretty low and pretty down. And the things that he would say in regards to success in business, not only did he not believe that he could do it himself as well, because the odds were stacked against him. That's why I said he had a loser mindset, because you can do anything through Yahshua who strengthens you. All you got to do through Christ who strengthens you, Jesus who strengthens you. All you got to do is have faith of a grain of mustard seed. So I said he had a loser mindset, that he was a loser. I absolutely did. And after that, not only with him making sly comments or sly remarks about my business being something that has been successful, and for him really not being able to pull much income, after we had our conversation, I pulled him aside and talked to him face to face, man to man. Not only that, I went and got witnesses. After all of that was done, he decided to flip his spirit in the way that he was approaching me or approaching our business relationship. He was more positive. And then I received him based on him being more positive. I did not hold him to the negative and continue to spread and tell Brother Justin, oh, he this, that, and the third. And I'm still, no, I left that right where it was at. And, if he's on it, he can testify to it. I left it right where it was at. Whatever negative shit he was doing before, when I didn't want him around me, he started giving me positive things. And I took him for where he was at right then and there and moved forward with him. But he claimed that I sowed discord with him, when truly I was just loving on the brother. I was really just telling him the truth. Many things that other brothers was saying to me and telling me behind his back, I was telling it to his face, to make him a better man, to make him do better, so he does not come around me and have that spirit of jealousy, envy, rather than jealousy motivated. Because I understand the difference between the two jealousies. It's okay to be jealous, but be motivated if you're going to be jealous. Don't be envious, because envious can lead to a murderous spirit that could make you want to be murderous. And trust me, I'm familiar with that spirit. I have a natural brother who pulled a firearm out on me twice based on envy. Okay? So I know the spirit very well, and that's why I'm very sensitive to that spirit. And when I see that spirit operating within a brother, especially, honestly, we don't have a very good track record as melanated individuals with each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm very sensitive to that spirit, and I do not want that spirit around me. when I want to be successful. But they would claim that would be discord. I would say that that is a brother who's loving on a brother. I never said it. I discredited. I counted them out. Said, hey, indefinitely. I said until he's ready, because he ain't ready right now. Until he's ready, we have to separate ourselves from him and just do business. Take care of do our podcast recordings, do what we got to do, but separate ourselves from him because he's not ready. You know, he's got a spirit of envy on him. And that was just kind of facts of what I identified within this brother. But anything that I wanted to address, I addressed it directly to their face. I never went behind somebody's back, whispered in the ear, and never brought it to that brother face to face. This situation that Pastor Rufus is speaking on is something spanking new. It's something that I've never heard of. It's something that never was told directly to me. So we never really truly had an opportunity to address, look, anybody being a liar, being demonic, being deceptive. But they addressed it with someone else outside of me. Even in recent times and talking to them in conversation, did they not mention anything like this? You understand what I'm saying? Even when they had opportunities to. And I got the recordings, I got the receipts, I can pull them at any time. But soweth discord amongst the brethren. They believe addressing things in the open is soweth discord. That's what they've used to label me as somebody who sowed discord, right? Because I would address things right with the brother. I wouldn't let them slide or get away with things that were wicked. That was sowing discord. When truly, you just didn't like it. Other brothers would allow it, but me personally, I would call it out. And someone who's calling out the truth and not allowing you to just do whatever you want, that brother usually is a target. Not only that, when you expose them openly, right? Of course, all of a sudden, you got all these allegations that you never brought to me, that you never said to me, that you never allowed me to know. But you talked about it behind the scenes, though. Apparently, excuse me. Apparently, you talked about it behind the scenes with the other brethren, things like that. That is a sower of discord. Whoever's speaking behind the scenes and not bringing it directly to their brother. Sower of discord amongst the brethren. It's gossip, which is one of the worst sins. And we just read it here, right? A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord. These are the what? 6 things doeth the Elohim hate. He hates these things because it destroys that individual's reputation. And you never brought it to him. You're not solution based. You're not solution based in what your conversation is. So when you're taking things like this to Pastor Rufus and trying to sway him over to your position, over to your side, you're not coming with solutions. You're just coming with a problem and trying to convince someone to take a position that is your position based on the problem that you presented to one side. Now, when it comes to whatever issues that I've had in Michigan, I don't know what those are. I have no clue who had the issues, what the issues truly were. I don't know. I have no clue. Why don't I know? I was never put out for any of those issues. I was put out because I had issues in the household. And I came upon hard times that led to something. And they just decided to remove me because I made a Facebook video correcting the misinformation that was put out there about me. That's the only reason why. Outside of that, I didn't receive any, this, that, and the third. Like I said, besides this one brother who held a grudge, which most men can get over things. Most females are the ones who hang on to shit like that. But Let's continue. Let's go to Proverbs 16:28. Proverbs 16:28. A forward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends. A violent man, yeah. So, and a whisperer, so a whisperer, someone who gossips, right? Separates chief friends. So separates brothers, separates individuals. The one who whispers. So anyone who's had an issue with me, and you've taken it to Pastor Rufus, and you're trying to convince him of something, why wouldn't you bring all of those issues to me first? So now, not only you operating presumptuously, but you're also being a whisperer. You're also gossiping and trying to sway someone's opinion of another individual with no solution to help that individual you're trying to that you're talking about, which is very interesting. Everything that I experienced up in Michigan, obviously and apparently, was absolutely fake. Every individual, every brother was faking it the whole time. I don't know why. They just were, which was a surprise to me. It's a huge surprise, yo, because what I thought was a genuine brotherhood turned out to be the fakest thing that I've ever experienced in my life. Like, I can go to a Christian church and receive a better brotherhood than that. And if you had an issue with me, why not just bring it to me directly and tell me, hey, I don't really like the way you're talking. I don't really like the way you're talking to me. I don't really like the way you're addressing A, B, and C. Why smile in my face and stick a dagger in my back? Why do that? Unless you're just extremely fake and flawed individual. Just fake as hell, a whisperer, a gossiper with an effeminate spirit on you, a spirit of Ahab, a Jezebel spirit. Excuse me. With a Jezebel spirit on you. That's a Jezebel. Somebody who pillow talks behind the scenes, but never brings it directly to my brother. Listen, if I had an issue with you, any of you who've had a problem with me, or we've had conversations about what I didn't like about you, I brought it directly to your doorstep. Them brothers in Michigan can testify to that. I'm sure, hopefully they don't lie about it. Because every issue that I've had with any of them, I brought it straight to their doorstep. Either they got rebuked or they got reproved, corrected. I brought it straight to them. You can ask these brothers down here in Houston, brought it straight to their doorstep. Wasn't ducking no smoke. Even showed up to Passover, waved to them, said what's up to them and everything right at the door. I don't duck no smoke. I don't need to tuck tail and hide. That's just not who I am. I'm going to bring it directly to you. To you, directly. Maybe that's not what they liked. They didn't like that. They didn't like that somebody would call them out on their bullshit, on their sins. And these and these are the issues that I'm having in each location, okay? These are the issues and problems that I'm having in each location. Let's go ahead and go to the next scripture real quick, you guys. All right. Got James 3:16. Let's get it. For where envying and strife is, there is a confusion in every evil work. So where what envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. Yes. So, me being who I am, not only did this individual want to be with a woman and saw that woman may have had some sort of interest in me, but also, I'm more attractive, I'm younger, I'm faster, stronger, smarter, more intelligent, very skilled in a lot of different things. He had reasons to be envious of me, right? And so that right there brought about quite a bit of confusion and every evil work, right? So when you have the two who are constantly being contentious with me directly, in which, you know, if they were to drop this park video, you would see that was obviously clear that these two had it out. These two had a problem with me, Micah Christian. They had an issue with me that they did not want to fix, and they did not have the heart to want to fix it. So they didn't have any heart of forgiveness. They didn't they didn't want me to be forgiven. They didn't want me to be able to have a reasonable resolution to the conflicts. All they really wanted is for me to be painted as the bad person, as somebody who showed discord and just done away with, right? Because at one point he said, these two of them said, "Oh, I'm done with this guy. I'm done with him." Okay, that tells me a lot. It tells me that everything you told me just now was to tear me down, not build me up, right? So that was the biggest thing, is that's what took place. But the wisdom of that is from above is first pure, that then peaceable, gentle, and easy to entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without what? Partialities. And that's exactly what it is. You know, one guy, he only would side with that individual because that individual was paying his bills. So whenever I tried to get him to testify to something that happened on a particular day, he wouldn't open his mouth and testify to it because he had ties with the other individual, but they understood that they wanted to get me out of there. That's all it was. Get me out the way because there was a young lady who possibly had an interest in me, right? And I told that young lady's brother, I said, you know, it seemed like that we may have had a good conversation and I would not mind courting her, whatever it may be. However, her spiritual growth is more important than what I would like to do. And I prefer her to grow spiritually first than anything. So no, I didn't want to have that young lady. I didn't want to have her. You feel me? That wasn't something that I was desiring to do. I was desiring her to be spiritually ready first. You get what I'm saying? So let's continue. Sorry, guys. I got a little. Anyway, let's continue without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of the righteous is sown in peace of them that make peace. Now, one thing that I can tell you now is that during that time, you heard on a recording that, you know, myself, Webb, and the other brothers, we had a very cordial conversation. And they were just trying to get to the nucleus of the problem. But the park conversation happened before the recording conversation. And that conversation, they were letting me have it. I could barely even talk. I can barely say anything. You know, and which, you know, Webb said that, yeah, I called them thunder and lightning. That's what he told me. It was almost as though they already orchestrated and planned to be on the attack and not be on the understanding front, but be on the attack. Because I was exposing some of the things that they were doing down there in Houston. That's all I was really doing, right? But the issues that I'm telling you that I had with these brothers are 100% accurate. I'm not leaving nothing out. Everything that I was dealing with, but also I'm telling you what I did as well, right? Which was not much. I didn't do much to provoke them to a position of anger. They just took it. They just took a position of anger, of malice, of unforgiveness, of ill will. They just took that position based on what I wanted to address. If I never asked that brother Christian, why were you so upset, then none of this would have took place. If I would have just took it and kept it moving, right, and didn't say a word, didn't call it out, right, or try to nip it in the bud, then it wouldn't have been an issue. And the reason why they kind of flipped is because they had a hard time with losing Christian based on the amount of resources he brought in. And they spoke about that often. However, That's beside the point. The main point that I'm making here is the way that you should be treating each other, right? And it continuously says, full of mercy and good fruits, which they did not. Those two guys didn't show me any of that. Now, when it comes to Webb, he was saying things, sowing discord by telling another brother what this brother said without that brother being in front of the brother. So you're going to take what this brother said and bring it to me. Like, he told me that, Micah said that I was talking and smoking mirrors and trying to do smoke and mirrors conversations. And that's sowing discord by, oh, this brother said this. Oh, this brother said that. He said, she said. You get what I'm saying? Instead of bringing it to the individuals and allowing them to say it right in front of them. Don't tell them at all. If you're going to mention it, you need to mention it while all the parties are there present. That way, you're not sowing discord. That way, you're not causing issues and having these brothers be put against each other for whatever reason, right? They're able to talk it through. And you're going to press the mark for them to have the conversation. Not only that, you're going to, as a leader who does not want to sow of discord, you're going to be sure that these men hatch it out without dishonoring each other, disrespecting each other, and calling each other names, okay? Being dishonorable and disrespectful to one another. You're going to be sure that they show honor and respect to all men, as the book says. But if you want to see strife, if you want to see contention, if you want to see some mess, if you're a messy individual or person, you're going to just allow things to happen. That's just kind of what you're going to do. All right, let's go to the next scripture real quick. What is this? Matthew 23:13. But woe unto you. Okay, wait a minute. Not this one. All right, we're going to go to Sirach. Whoever is quick to believe has a travail heart and will be diminished. And whoever offends against his own soul will have even less. Whoever rejoices in iniquity will be condemned. And whoever hates correction will have less in life. But whoever hates excessive talk extinguishes evil, right? But whoever hates excessive talk extinguishes evil, meaning gossip. Whoever hates excessive talk extinguishes evil, which is gossip. Whoever sins against his own soul will be punished, and whoever rejoices in malice will be condemned. A lot of them were rejoicing in malice, okay? You should not repeat a wicked and harsh word, and then you will not be diminished. Do not reveal your mind to friend or foe. And if there is a sin within you, do not disclose it. For he will listen to you and watch you. And while pretending to defend your sin, he will despise you. And so he will be whenever he is with you. Have you heard a word against your neighbor? Let it die within you, trusting that it will not burst forth from you. Meaning you need to hold those secrets, as well as you want to, for he will listen to you and watch you. And while pretending to defend your sin, he will despise you. And so he will be whenever he is with you. Right? Yeah. So, have you heard a word against your neighbor? let it die with let it die with you, trusting that it will not burst forth with you. Before the face of the word, a foolish man labors like a woman groaning as she gives birth to a child, like an arrow fixed in the flesh of the thigh. So is the word in the heart of a foolish man. So we need to be careful about these things. Our words, what we say, what we speak, what we're doing, okay? How we're doing it. We need to be careful about it because these things could lead us to hell. These things could have us losing our very salvation because of the words that we're saying. It's power of life or death in the tongue. When we're going behind someone's back and just saying things and trying to sway someone's opinion to your side or one side or the other, or to pull support or to do anything of that nature without bringing it to that brother, or if the brother repented and you're still holding the brother to it, you are falling under the sin of sowing discord and gossiping, sowing discord and unforgiveness, sowing discord and envy in a lot of cases. Okay. And so that's one of the biggest things, right? One of the biggest things is that when hearing about a lot of these situations and knowing what I know about these situations, I don't have the same testimony. I can't say that in Michigan that there was a bunch of issues that I've caused. I will be totally honest with myself. If I offended any brother in Michigan by my words or using words, then I believe that they should have brought it to me directly and stated that to me, right? Before they were exposed for anything, but they never brought it. Okay. So this right here is showing you that gossip, sowing discord, those things are prevalent because as you can see and as you could hear from Pastor Rufus, someone has been coming to him and saying things in regards to me and my character that they never have said to me. They never brought it to me. And if it's somebody who's outside of Michigan or outside of Texas who is on outside looking in, you don't know the actual truth about what happened in Michigan, and you don't know the truth about what's going on in Texas. I gave the truth. I said it in my testimonies. Whether you believe me or not is up to you. However, unless they were to come with proof and evidence that what I'm saying needs to be challenged, what I'm saying is absolutely valid. In a court of law, we call this silence is acquiescence under the law, meaning you are acquiescing, meaning it's true. Whatever is being said in this affidavit, whatever is being said in this testimony is 100% true if you're not rebutting it. If you did not rebut it, it is true. Silence is acquiescence under the law. Now, someone who chooses to go behind my back and say something different to another individual to try to influence them, obviously we know who the liar is. Obviously we know where the truth lies. And the truth don't need to hide. The truth is out in the open. The truth is right in your face. The truth is that's the truth. So before you choose a side and say, okay, this brother must have been, what if I was standing on the side of righteousness that whole time? What if those brothers in Michigan pegged me to be somebody who I wasn't that whole time? Just because of the simple fact of the things that took place in Texas and possibly being exposed for lying on me. You understand what I'm saying? What if that's the case? What if the case is that because as they did not only Elijah, but our master Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah, and many others in the scriptures where they levied charges against them and tried to paint them to be a certain individual that they were not, Paul had to stand trial, being accused of breaking the law. You understand? He never did. It happens, y'all. But the reason why I'm bringing this out and using this as these situations as examples is because not only do people have a misconception as to what sowing discord is gossiping, it's envy, it's unforgiveness, it's having a malice heart towards your brother, to where your brother can't gain you or can't be able to get peace with you or gain peace with you. That's a malice heart. Those things are sowing discord. Bringing something to a brother, rebuking a brother, bringing it out with a brother directly to him, that is following the book. And that's all I've done with any of those brothers. And I wish they would get on here and lie and say that I didn't. And say that that's not anything that I did. I didn't do none of that. I didn't bring none of that stuff out. I didn't address anything publicly. I wish they would do that. Because that's all I was doing. But they labeled that as sowing discord. Those things right there would have you in the worst position on the planet. And I believe that this happens in the ministries the straight way all too often, to where someone is sowing discord, meaning they're gossiping. I mean, this is amongst men, y'all. That's an effeminate Jezebel spirit of gossip. I remember I was talking to a guy who's supposedly supposed to be my mentor. He also labeled himself the realest nigga alive, which he needs to not even say that about himself ever again, because that was not true at all, not even close. But when I spoke to him about it, when I spoke to him about a situation, I talked to him about me having a conversation with one of the brothers, and that, about how you should address your woman, your wife, in regards to converting her over to the faith, whether you should force her to have a head covering on, or if you should allow her to study on her own and come to the conviction of wearing it. My position was, you allow her to study, you allow her to be convicted on her own, and you also shower her with the word. Their position was, no, she better wear it, you force her to wear it. And I believe that a lot of men make that mistake. Oh, my bad. I believe a lot of men make that mistake, and they don't have the patience and love and charity with their woman, with their wife, with their sister, to be able to develop that love for the Most High Yah before she makes a decision to commit to you and the Father in this walk, giving her the grace, giving her the opportunity to understand how to truly love her and allow her to open her relationship up with Yah on her own time, and not forcing her to do things that make her change right away, but understanding that these things are things that she would do for herself and the Most High. And that's what's going to strengthen her walk even more with you, is that she knows she has autonomy to make a decision to love Yah. Now, these are all things that, we spoke about, and they disagreed with me, and I just cross-referenced that with this particular individual, and he just outwardly just started telling me this person's business, like his personal life things, the things he was going through personally in his private life. And he quickly just mentioned it, in which I didn't have a response to it. I just kind of heard it and was just moved past it. Didn't respond to it, didn't add on to it, didn't anything. But it was just, they were so comfortable with doing it that it was just a natural thing to gossip. That's what I'm saying. And roping me into that. Because me hearing what he's saying also makes me accountable to what he's saying. You understand what I'm saying? Even though I did not respond to it, I still heard what he was saying, and I continued to speak with him. So that's a repentance, right? Because we're not allowed to even participate in someone who likes to gossip and tell other people's business. So that's one thing for sure, that would happen often and frequently, is brothers telling other brothers' business and just saying it and not, and gossiping. You understand what I'm saying? And these are brothers. These are supposed to be men with gossiping spirits. So that's a Jezebel spirit. We have to be fully cognitive of these things, because honestly, tell you the truth, to hear reports like this and me not know anything about a reputation in Michigan, right, of brothers not liking me, right, or whatever it may be, showing discord in Michigan, I don't know. Me not knowing anything about that, really, and it not really being brought to me, is a surprise to me. It's a shock to me, absolutely. And so we have to understand, like, as Christ followers, that this is something we expect from a Christian church. When you walk in there, is somebody whispering behind somebody's back but smiling in their face. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Smiling in their face, but really they talking shit about them behind their back. But in Israel, of course, I guess we need to worry about that as well, because the moment you start to out them or blast them for something they may have done wrong, and they're not in the spirit to receive you or to receive correction or rebuke or reprove on things that they need to fix, even though, then this is what you get. You get individuals that's going to another brother and trying to convince him or influence him that somebody else is no good, and that they need to sway their opinion about that person, pull their support, and do something different because of whatever reason. If you feel like me making these videos, making my testimonies, and all of that is something that I'm doing for financial gain, then why not come and ask me about it? Why not come and say, hey, I believe that this is this, that, and the third, based on what I'm seeing. Is this true? If you really want to know. But if you're going off and you're talking to somebody else behind the scenes to try to influence this individual, to get them to pull their support or to do something different, you got to understand where you're going to end up. You're going to be in the lake of fire that burneth with brimstone. You're going to be in hell because you gossiping and you're not speaking to the individual directly. That's a spirit of gossip. And it's a sower of discord amongst the brethren. Somebody who's going and whispering behind someone's back, saying this and this, that, and the third, to put that other brother against, to where they are now at odds with each other. Now, oh, I don't really support this person, or I don't really mess with this person because of this reason. That's the same thing that another leader within Straightway hit me up, called me up, tried to talk to me about Brother Nick, about whatever he was doing. And I'm like, did he repent? Okay, well, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Well, he was doing this, that, and the third in a private account. Okay, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't care nothing about none of that. I could care less. You get what I'm saying? Did he repent? Okay, that's between him and Yah. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But all of a sudden now that these men are leaving and blasting and exposing these people, all of a sudden now you're just a shit person. All of a sudden now, same thing with Pastor Rufus. Oh, he's fat, he's lazy, lethargic, a user, all this other shit, has a bunch of gym shoes. All of a sudden, this dude's a trash human being after 14 years. Same thing with Brother Nick. All of a sudden, he's just this ridiculous, this disgusting, this, that, and the third, whatever they want to say about him. Now that he left, whereas before they talked about how honorable he was. It's the same thing here. When I'm calling out wickedness, of course they're not going to enjoy that. They're not going to enjoy it. I would love for them to take an account as to where I was sowing discord or talking about another brother behind his back and not bringing it to that brother, or trying to get this other individual to not like somebody because I just wanted to get him not to like him, not because I wanted him to be more successful or to grow. And maybe he's being enabled in growing or any of those things, right? So this is one thing that I want to watch a quick testimony on the topic that I'm telling you about right now. This testimony is compelling, right? It is gut wrenching to its core. And you have to really listen in, because this individual is going to allow you to understand what happens to these individuals who do the things that they're doing right now and trying to sway someone else's heart, sway someone else's support, whatever they want to do. They want their outcome because they have been exposed, outed, whatever it may be. They're doing it for those reasons. And they're gossiping behind the scenes and not bringing it directly to the individual they're talking about. Don't know why. Maybe they're too afraid. Maybe they scared. Maybe they think that I'm just going to stump a mud hole in their ass. You know what I mean? Just for talking to me about it. I feel like I'm a pretty reasonable guy. I can be able to hear you out. But let's go ahead and get into this video and see what I'm talking about. First, I'm going to allow him to give his testimony as to who he is, so that way you guys will understand. If you guys don't know this guy, then this would be your first time introducing him to you. But his testimony is what's the most compelling thing. We're not going to do the full thing, and then we're going to go ahead and jump to the part that I need you guys to hear. But I want you guys to know his testimony first. Let's get to it. All right, just a sec.
And I was only there for like 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Where were you shot?
In my stomach, twice.
Okay.
That's why I'm still experiencing medical conditions right now. I still have fragments of bullets in me.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome. It's Ranza here from No Christ. Today we have someone very, very special. He's about to share his testimony, a very, very powerful testimony, one that convicted me, one that is the most compelling hell testimony I've heard. One off. Indeed, so I want you guys to just sit back, relax, and get ready. Hey Dominic, thanks for coming on.
Whoa, thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, so this guy, as you can see the title, I was dead for 3 minutes and 47 seconds, and he went to hell. It felt like I was there for months, is what he said. Let's get to it.
Thank you. All right, so yes, go ahead.
No problem. I saw your testimony on, I believe it's called Touching the Afterlife, right? Your wife reached out to me. I saw the video on YouTube, but I hadn't clicked on it yet. And then I saw an email from your wife, right, just sharing your story. And she said you never wanted to share, but she's like, you got to share it, right?
Yes.
And then look what's happening. God is using it, right?
Yes, definitely. Because at first I didn't want to share it. For years I didn't, and I don't think, I just think the Lord put it on my heart. Everything is on his timing, not on our timing. And I want people to realize that everything is on the Lord's timing. And it wasn't time for me years ago to share it because I wouldn't have been spiritually mature enough to handle all the things that are coming and the blessings that are coming from the testimony and the testimony, how it's touching others. So I just know that it was his timing, but I was very reluctant to give my testimony, but I'm glad I did.
I want to go all the way back to your story, right? From the beginning.
Sure. Well, I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. Grew up, like I said, with a loving grandmother. She was the light of our family. We had, pretty much she tried to instill God in us, but the neighborhood that we were in, it wasn't fostering of God. It wasn't that way. My mom went through trauma. My father passed away at a younger age. And, and my mom went down a dark road. She started to use drugs, unfortunately. And with that came for her neglecting me and my brother and sister in a lot of ways. Now that I look back on it, I'm kind of, glad that she did neglect us because I wouldn't have found God to this purpose, And just to throw it out there, my mom has been sober for over 22 years now. So thank the Lord for that, But just starting off growing up in Chicago, it was that environment is so hellish. A lot of the choices that you have is pretty much the only gang you're going to choose. That is, your choices are limited. Job opportunities are limited. So me growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up, our district has over 500,000 people just in our district alone. So it's always crowded, a lot of gang activity, drugs. And me not having a lot of different role models, and I just didn't have the discernment to see the people around me that I should have followed. But I was more following the streets. I was following more of the gang life. I wanted the money. I wanted the, you know what I mean? And also I was tired of struggling. So I wanted the fast way out. So by the time I was 12 years old, I joined the gang. I don't like to glorify it, so I won't name the gang that I joined because I don't want to give them no credit at all. But I did join it's the infamous street gang that's all over the country that I joined. And I started selling drugs, instantly. I was good at that because one thing about me, I love school. School was always my place of peace. It kept my mind off my neighborhood. It kept my mind off everything. So when I went to school, it was just like peaceful to me. And I always loved to educate myself. So that was another thing that I realized God put inside me. But as soon as I got out of school, it's time to put on the war helmet. You know what I mean? It's a different feel to it. But I got pretty fast. I was very smart. So I was very intelligent in learning how to sell drugs. Moved up fast in the rankings because of my intelligence, but I was using my intelligence for the wrong things. I used it for the dark side. Manipulation, especially when it comes to the women, like I say, money, everything. It was just my whole focus and my aim was just totally off because in our culture, we're programmed to worship and idolize certain things. We'll quote, makes you a man. You know what I mean? And that's not the case. But I thought I was becoming a man. I thought me, having a status in a gang, I thought me having money, people being scared of me being able to shoot guns, I thought that made me a man. And so the more I thought that, the more, of course, I was hungry and enticed to live that type of lifestyle.
There's one thing I wanted to touch on. You said when you were younger, some of your family members were involved in like Santeria, etc.
Oh,
and you
yes,
saw something.
definitely.
You saw something when you were a young boy. So tell us about that if you want to share it. This ceremony thing, if you want to go into it.
Well, there are ceremonies in Santeria, in the culture, Cuban culture, Latin culture, Dominican culture. They're called sweats. Okay. And when I was younger, I went to a sweat, and that's where they pinch a tent and they burn hot stoves, and you pretty much almost naked. And the whole intention is to give all the spirits a chance to come through you and in you. And that's why I knew the spirit realm is real. That's how I knew demons are real. But when I was young, I didn't know those were demons. Well, you're packed. I was packed inside this tent, and they're praying to. Okay, one thing I want people to know. In Santeria, there are 9 principalities, okay? And these 9 principalities are the principalities that run the whole world. And what happens is each year, at the end of each year, they shift different places. So each principality takes over a new territory on the earth. And when this happens, you give praise and worship to these new principalities that shift positions. And a lot of people, when we have these sweats, it is an honor of the new principality ushering in that new principality that's coming in over a certain territory. Okay, now on this occasion, I was in a ceremony, and there were just tons of just rocks. It's an altar, okay? It's a form of an altar, but it's an altar. And, you get to a point of it, and everyone's chanting and chanting. And I don't want to say those names because people don't realize when you say these demonic names, they actually can come into your life and your portal. So I'm just going to say one of these principalities were being ushered in to the sweat ceremony, to the ritual. And as I'm looking, there was the altar, and this altar of hot stones, that's what gives off the heat to make everybody sweat. But this stones, the smoke that was coming from it started to become solid. Okay. Now, as I'm looking at it becoming solid, it started to form of the shape of a body. You can start to see the legs, the upper body, the arms. And I'm looking like, wait a minute, am I seeing? I had to kind of focus my eyes, but the more I'm looking at it, this thing is solidifying. It's becoming solid, okay? And now you can start clearly see a form of a young, beautiful lady. I mean, one of the most beautiful ladies I've ever seen in my life. I'm not going to lie to you. But she just started manifesting into a solid form, okay? Even then you can start to see the color. She had a white robe on. She was pretty much like my complexion, maybe a little darker, long, silky hair, but she completely formed out of smoke. And one thing, yes, this is
into like, a real body, into a physical body,
physical body. Okay. And one of the high priestesses that came up grabbed her hand, and she stepped out from the smoke down, and they said, "Welcome, sister. Thank you for coming and joining us today." But I was so petrified that I squirmed my way through this ceremony and just took off running. I mean, I took off. Yeah, I couldn't even, because it reminded me of the same fear. Spiritual fear and physical fear are two different elements.
See, y'all gotta understand that these people who do all this Santeria and all of this nonsense, they are faithful with it and they're powerful with what they do. And us as Christ followers, we are powerful beings, more powerful than them, much more powerful. But we just need to exercise our strengths and gifts. We just need to be able to be sure that we're removing ourselves from situations where gossip is taking place, where sin is taking place. But we just need to be focused, y'all. And I made a video about this. When it comes to spirituality, you need to get focused. You need to get laser focused. You need to get locked in, y'all. You gotta get locked in. The times that we're in right now, especially with this wicked holiday coming up soon, you gotta get locked in. It's time to get laser focused. Fasting, praying, things like that. Exercise your spiritual gifts and powers. But as you can see, they do this. You feel me? They're more faithful and more consistent than you are, honestly, than a lot of you are. So you need to get faithful. You need to get more consistent if you're looking to follow the Master Yeshua. You need to. You cannot be. There is no discharge from this war. Get focused. Let's get it.
It's way more magnified. That's why some people who get haunted by demonic forces and things, it's a different terror. It's not even fear. It's outside the realm of regular fear that we experience here on earth. It's outside this dimension. That's why it's more powerful.
Okay.
So that was just one incident, and we could talk more about that. But
you were a little boy at this time. Like, how old were you at this time?
I was 9 years old.
Okay. So let's fast forward back to gang life. You're doing all that, right?
Yes.
He was terrified, ran out of there, saw a woman form from smoke into a physical woman.
Your wife also said that you were just searching for religions, like searching for truth.
Yes, I was
into different things.
Yeah, my family can vouch for that. It just always had a compelling to form for God. That's why I was Muslim. I was a Black Hebrew Israelite. Like I said, Santeria, New Age movement. I did so much research.
So now this brings me to wonder why he is now a Christian rather than a Hebrew, an Israelite. It raises suspicion for me now because Christians don't typically require certain things from you, right? And Hebrews or Black Israelites, they typically require you to at least know the word, and they still, of course, those things in you. But when people say they converted over from being a warlock or a witch into being Christianity, honestly, tell you the truth, it raises suspicion for me as somebody who's discerning people. You could be a double agent. You know what I'm saying? You could just be in that because Christianity doesn't require much from you, and you can influence a lot of people. You understand what I'm saying? But when you're in a part of a Black Hebrew Israelite culture, they tend to discern. They tend to be a little bit more by the book, which is more difficult. And a lot of them tend to really believe firmly in deliverance. But let's continue. Let's just take his testimony into account, right? Let's continue.
Over the years,
that's just my
trying to find him,
right? That's just me. Okay, whenever I hear somebody's converting from being a witch or a warlock to being a Christian, which don't require much from you. So let's continue.
And the funny part was he was with me the whole time. While I was out there looking for all of these things, that's what people don't realize. While you out there searching and trying to search, whenever you have an inkling to find him, that means he's already found you.
Okay.
Which I totally agree with that. He's already found you. He's introduced himself. And then now you're just like, what? Damn, where he at? But he's already introduced himself. Hey, how are you doing? He's already there right with y'all. That's the reason why he's called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. He's called you, right? Now you just need to be sure that you're the chosen. Let's get it.
Whenever you have an inkling to find him, that means he's already found you. See what I
Okay. He's
mean?
right. They're just waiting for you.
And
So
he's already there. So
did
yeah.
did you look into Christianity?
I thought it was a hoax. I thought it was I'm just being honest. This is just I'm keep it 100 as we say. Yeah, I thought it was a hoax. I thought it was just a fear tactic. I thought it was just used to manipulate and control people. I thought it was a European white man's religion. You know what I mean? Come to find out, actually, it's an ancient African religion. It started, but that's a whole nother story. It was never a European religion, but that's what the enemy puts on our mind because we're so used to just searching the details on things, we lose the message on things. We want to know the scientific principles of things, the historical facts, the archaeological principles, instead of the spiritual message that's come in that package. So that's another tactic to throw you off from getting to the message. Instead of you arguing and debating with people on the outside of things, you never get his message. So that's why I want people to be careful with overanalyzing the historical facts of things. We know mankind and man tampered with things. We know this. We know the man tampered with the scriptures. I don't know how many times. That's why there's so many different versions. But when you have discernment, you only can water down God's word so much. But once you have true discernment, you can see instantly his power is still in the scriptures, no matter who try to manipulate it. Man only can do so much to God's word. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in there. Yeah.
So we're coming up to the moment now where you were shot,
Yes.
right? And then you had the experience, right? Lead us up to the moment where you got shot, and then what happened after that?
Sure. It was 2009. By then, I had some money, and every weekend we go to the clubs. We go to the clubs looking for girls. We're smoking some weed. We're drinking in their life, right? So for us, it's a tradition to go get new clothes. You go to the club, you got to have a new outfit. So me and my friend, we're going to go shopping during the day. We go shopping, but I kept seeing this one guy, okay? First, we went to the clothing store. I come out, he's sitting on his car. And this is something in my spirit says, something is not right about this guy. But I looked at him, he said, what's up? I said, okay, what's up? We go to another store. I come out, he's outside the second store, way on the other side of our district. Just like it's no way you can keep running to the same person. So I thought it was, wait a minute. Now my spirit really was tugging on me. Like something is up with this guy. So again, I looked and he said, he's sitting on his car outside of the store. So I tapped my friend and said, hey man, this man is following us. This guy. And my friend laughed. He was like, dude, you're not that important. Nobody following you, man. Quit it. You're nobody to be thinking about. Stop it. You're paranoid. Okay, I brushed it off. So later on, I come out 2 or 3 hours later, we're dressed. I'm ready to go out. I come outside the building. Guess who's standing there? The same guy. So this time I said, okay, I'm about to question this guy and ask him, do I know him from somewhere? Where is he from? You know what I mean? Because enough is enough at this point. My spirit is telling me I need to find out what's going on. As I'm walking and approaching the guy, he had a cigar in his mouth. And he said, do you have a lighter on you? I said, yeah. And so as I'm reaching in my pocket, I saw a green flash. It's the first thing I really remember. It was a green flash. Okay. Now it just seems like, I don't know if things go in slow motion. When your body experience traumatic experiences, you either black out or time slows down for you. Okay. And I'm noticing how God put that in as a safety mechanism for your body, for us. So we won't be over traumatized by the experience. But as I look up, I smell like, I don't know if you know what matches, like if you would burn a whole book of matches, like the sulfuric smell.
Yeah.
That's what I smelled. But as I look up to him and he hit me again, wow, again. So now I'm looking at him, but he has this look on his face and it was demonic, but it was like I got you look, like you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But as the second time I fall back, as soon as I'm falling back, I feel myself falling forward.
Okay.
It's hard to explain. I'm falling back, but yet I can feel myself falling forward, and instantly, it was instantaneous. It was just like that. I was in darkness. But like I described before, this darkness is not a darkness like here on earth. It's not like you can blindfold yourself, like you can put yourself underneath the earth, super blindfold yourself and dig deeper. And it's still, this darkness is alive. You understand? It had a spiritual component to it, to where I felt it was all over me, like it was holding me. But as I'm falling down, I can't even calculate the speed. But as I'm falling, the more I'm falling, the more I'm feeling things getting stripped away from me, meaning such as like hope, love, all the stuff that we take for granted here that we don't realize that come from God, they're stripped from you as you're falling to this place. Okay. I want people to be aware. Don't take anything for granted, because as I was falling, it's beyond, like I was saying before, at first, the terror. It's not fear, it's terror, and it's alive. It's a spirit. It's alive in that place. In the darkness, it's alive. It was alive. It was like the darkness had a consciousness of its own, and it was stripping me of everything good. So as I'm falling, I mean, it's so fast, and I can't even think clear, but I'm falling because people don't understand. Just say, for example, if you're here conscious, like we're talking right now, we're communicating, and then all of a sudden you're taken to just a whole nother place instantly. It's instantaneous. There's no slow build up to it. There's no nothing there. It's boom. Okay. And I'm falling and I'm feeling this fear, but the speed of the fallingness, I can't even explain it in words, no matter what language, no matter what. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual component to everything. Now that in hindsight, and the more that I'm mature in my spirit, I'm realizing that it is all spiritual. The spiritual life, I was in my spiritual body. Okay. I'm falling. Now, the first thing that hit me was this smell. The smell. But see, people don't understand. I'm gonna explain it again. When you pass away, you don't lose your five senses. Sight, hear, touch, taste. No. They heightened. They get more potent. So they raise times 1,000,000. So you become more sensitive. They don't go anywhere. They get stronger. So like if you were to smell this smell right now, the smell that I was smelling, there's no way your body would be able to take it here on this earth. There's no sewer, no dead bodies, no dead animals, rotting flesh. There's nothing that can compare to this smell. Okay. It is so bad. It is just, but as I'm falling, I'm just like, it's just overwhelming, the smell. And then all of a sudden I see a little light. It's a little light, because this darkness is so dark. You can see the light on like a top of a pinhead. It's bright compared to this darkness. So to see that little light.
Here are 3 reasons why you should use Codecademy to learn how to code. Number 1 is their course catalog. They have
I'm thinking, but as I'm going, I'm falling, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Then all of a sudden I felt heat. I can feel heat coming from this light. But I wasn't even now that I'm looking at it, I wasn't even paying attention to the heat because I was so scared. I'm smelling this smell, but I'm starting to see it looked like a big portal. But this portal looked like it was rocks. Okay. That's what I want to explain to people. Hell is here on earth, but it's in a different dimension. Okay. Just like when I start learning scientific principles on different dimensions, it makes complete sense. Just like I'm sitting here right now, but there's different frequencies going through me that I can't even see, like microwaves, radio waves, all types of things, but they're vibrating on a different frequency. So you can have 2 places in one space because of different dimensions. So hell is on earth, but it's in a different dimension. All right. Yes. So now as I'm falling and I'm seeing this portal and it's open, as it opened now, I'm pretty much right there and I can see every detail. Now remember, your senses are heightened. You can see a molecule if you wanted to, if you focus and zoom in on it. I mean, that's how pinpoint accurate your senses are in a spiritual body. Now I'm looking and it's rocks, like stones, ancient rocks, caverns, but I fall through and I hit the bottom. Now, when I hit the bottom,
so the opening is like rocks.
Yes,
like circular.
It's like you're entering the cave system.
Okay,
it's like I was falling into an ancient cave system. That's the best way I can describe it. But the rocks were glowing. Everything on the rocks was so hot. They were like yellow, orange, white. They were hot. They were so heated. That's the little light that I was seeing. When I got there, I knew exactly that was that opening. So when I hit the bottom, I mean, I slammed so hard, but I didn't even feel that pain like that, because when I tried to move, I was so more worried. I was like, I was just panicking so bad. I tried to move and I couldn't move the way we move here. It felt like I was wearing a big heavy suit, like I was weighed like 900 pounds. So just like I'm moving my arms now and I can do this and that. No.
All right, so basically, Yeah, he's in hell right now, and he's experiencing what he's experiencing when he first arrives. One part here that I really want to get to uh, is about right around here in the 35-minute mark. Let's see. Is it 35? Let's go back his way.
Things in them, they were stabbing this. They were ripping people apart. They were eating people, especially the pastors. They had they had a real people. So when they throw them in it and they close it, what I found out and what I saw myself through my experience is that they get energy off our pain. They eat it. It's a form of food to them. It's like a drug to them. They get high off of it. That's why they're here on earth. They keep us depressed, angry, full of anxiety, because they're feeding off that. That's their food. But as I'm falling, understand, see every detail. Now remember, your senses are heightened. You can see what God gave you. So even having movement, even that comes from God. See, we don't realize that. Even breathing and just feeling, that comes from God. But that was stripped. You get stripped of all of that by the time you make it there.
Were you thinking about outside at all, or
No,
like you weren't even thinking about the earth?
No,
you were just focused on this place.
Yeah, you don't. You're so petrified. You're so scared. You're not thinking about anything here. You're not thinking about a person. You're not thinking at that moment. You're not thinking about anything. I was so shocked and going through in the fear and the anxiety and just everything. You're not thinking. That's the last thing you're thinking about. You're not thinking about any of those things.
So when you realized where you were, what happened next?
I'm trying to get up, and it was so dark. It was just as dark, but all of a sudden, the only thing that illuminated that place, the first thing I saw before me were the pits, and they were like flames were coming up, and then you can see when these flames come up. That's how you can see. But when the first pit lit up, I saw it had to be thousands, as far as your eye can see, of these pits, and they were connected in rows, but they would go so far, it had to be miles and miles and miles of these pits. But inside these pits, there were people, okay? But what really caught my attention before I'm going to describe the people in the pits were these beasts around all the pits. They were like giants. Some of them were and they all had a reptilian kind of theme to them. They all looked like reptile, nasty, deformed. Some of them had long arms, short arm with a long arm, bodies. But the giants that I saw, someone had to be 13 to 18 feet tall. I mean, huge. I'm talking about ripped up muscles, huge. I mean, they were
humanoid. Were they humanoids?
Humanoid, yes. They had legs. They had arms. They had, chest muscles. They were very humanoid, but not even close to humans. Not even. They were so ugly, and the smell that I was smelling, they stink. It was them. It was them. They stink. They horrible smell to them. Horrible smell. And a lot of them smell like sulfur too. That's why a lot of people who I've talked to who had experiences with demons, they always smell like a sulfuric smell. They stink. They smell bad. They're horrible. But then I also saw demons as tall as this pen. They're small. You got they all sizes, all shapes, all sizes, but some of them had red eyes, some of them had yellow eyes with the slits in them, and some of their skins were scaly. Like I said, they had that reptile, like the reptilian type look. But some of them didn't have the reptile look. Some of them were just so deformed and ugly, hairy. It just didn't make sense. Some of them were just so disproportionate, it didn't make any sense.
Did they notice you when you fell?
No, not right away. Not right away. One of them did. And that's how I look back, because I never saw the Lord. But now that I look back, he had to be with me to be protecting me, because the hatred that they have for us, it is beyond description. It is beyond words. They hate. There's no form of hate here on this planet that can even get close to how they feel about us. They hate you so bad, you can feel it. The energy will kill you. If their hatred was in the form of a weapon, here on earth, you would die. You would die. They hate. When I say hate is an understatement. Hate would feel like love compared to the hatred that they have for us. Literally. Yeah. But as I looked at the pits and the people, some of them were like charred skeletons, charred.
Yeah, some of y'all want to make terrible decisions and be demons out here for your own gain, for your own pleasure, and treating people like absolute shit, and almost as though they're not your brother, sister, or even human, for a demonic force who influenced you on that. And you're going to experience a level of hate much greater than you've ever shown anyone else. And it's only hate when you don't have unforgiveness when you have unforgiveness in your heart. But let's continue.
Burned up skeletons. Some of them had flesh hanging off of them. Okay. And the thing is, they were trying to crawl out. And now, because once you get there, you know that you know pretty much everything. You can see a person in hell and know why they're there. There's no time there. There's no time that you have to take to learn because everything is connected. So you know that you know. And they were there to guard the people from coming out the pit. They had these spears and these ancient things, and people were trying to crawl out. They were sticking them, grabbing them, especially the big giant, grabbing them and throwing them right back into the pits and the lava. And then what got me, though, like I was saying before, I forgot to mention, was the screams and the yells. Okay? It moves your spirit. The sense of the way these people were screaming and in agony and the regret and the pain, it is beyond comprehension. Even right now as we speak, that place is going on right now. And that's what reminds me every day. It's happening right now as we speak. People are there right now. And it's so many people. It is so many people. But as I'm trying to get up and I look, and I'm looking at these pits, and I'm just, now I thought I was already scared and full of anxiety. Now it's just beyond. It keeps growing. There's no limit to fear in the spiritual realm. Just when you think, okay, I'm maxed out of my anxiety. I'm maxed out on my, no. It keeps growing and it doesn't stop. There's no limit to how fearful you become. You know, I'm trying to get up. Then all of a sudden I felt something grab my head and I can see the claw. This thing had to be huge and it threw me. And when it threw me, the strength of this thing, it was like me picking up this pen and throwing this pen. It was like it was nothing. So I don't care what people say, oh, I will go in down there and I'll fight. No, I'm sorry. No, it's not happening. I don't care if you're the strongest man on earth. You have nothing.
It's like you had no control, right? You have no control.
You have no control. You have no strength. It's like you didn't eat in months. You don't have no nutrients, no kind of muscle, none of that. That's out the window. That comes from God. And everything, that's not there. So you can try your best if you want to, and there's nothing going to happen. So as I got hit this wall. But now as I noticed, once again, Lord had to be with me because I didn't feel, because of the force that I was thrown, I would have felt, I knew I was going to feel the pain. Because one thing I'm going to explain to everyone, like I explained before, my testimony is that here on the body, we have a nervous system, right? Yeah. So if I was to touch you and just pinch your hand, you would feel it only on your hand. In the spirit world, there's no such thing. If you get hit in the hand, you feel it through your whole body simultaneously at the same time. You won't feel it just in an isolated place where you got pinched. You will feel it all at one time from your head.
So pain also is more intense as well.
By a million. And that's an understatement. It is, see, because the spiritual world is people don't understand. Everything here physical is the leftovers from the spiritual world. That's why the Lord said your thoughts are more realer. That's why you get judged by your thoughts, because that's what the real is. It's not, your action is just a reflex of your thoughts. So now I know what the Lord means by that, because the spiritual is way more realer than this. Everything here physical is leftovers from the spiritual world. That's why I say the pain is more real. Your senses are more heightened. Everything is more intense, way more intense. Okay. Now, that's why I say when I got flung and I knew the Lord was there with me, is because I didn't feel, I expected so much more pain, but it wasn't. I felt pain, but it wasn't
the part that I really
what I knew in my mind what I was calculating that it should be. But as I look up, I'm on the side.
The guard that I need you guys to really focus on is coming up very soon. So hopefully you guys are paying attention to this powerful testimony right here.
It's like a stone mountain, but in the mountain were jail cells. rows and rows of these cells as far as your eye can see up. Like, and I grew up in skyscrapers my whole life, and I know what it is to live in the sky, literally. But these things were so high, like they were built into the side of a mountain, and there were rows and rows of cells, like the old cells, not like the modern day jails with the door with the slit. No, the bars, and they looked ancient, rusty. But instantly I knew, all of a sudden I started looking, and you can see people, activities in all of these different cells. But then it would be like 3 feet apart, it'd be stones, another cell. Stones, another cell. Stone, 3 feet apart, like just estimating. 3 to 2
And all the way up.
all the way up. The same way I saw the pits all the way going across, these were all the way up as far as my eyes can see. Literally. Like I couldn't even see it no more, but you can still see cells. And instantly I knew these were ancient. I knew that the people were there for thousands of years. Thousands of years. I mean, I'm talking about biblical times. They've been in there since. You know, people can't even imagine because time, see, like we're so used to time here. You can't imagine no time. There is no time there. Time stops. There is no time in the spirit world. It doesn't exist. Time is only used in the physical manifestation for us to organize things and keep schedules. It doesn't exist. All hope is gone when you're there. There is no, at least, like for example, I was explaining, back when I used to live my back life, because I did go to jail a couple of times. I was in jail, okay? I had hope because I had an out date, right? So you say, okay, I'm getting released in 8 months. That gives you some hope that I'm getting out of here in 8 months. But when you're in hell, there is no out date. There is no time. There is nothing no schedule. There is none that's gone. You know you're there. And the worst part is, I knew I deserved to be there. That was the thing that really got me. I had no rebuttals for me not being there. Okay?
So you weren't crying for mercy, you weren't calling out to God, nothing like that? No?
No. And that's another thing. See, the people don't understand. The things that I was hearing, you had a lot of people calling out to God. You had a lot of people asking for 5 more minutes, 1 more chance. Please, I'm sorry. Let me make it up to you. Can hear everything. That's another thing I want to add. Remember I was talking about the 5 senses being heightened? You can hear everybody screaming at one time, but you can individualize every person. You can individualize every scream. You can individualize. But then I heard a lot of blasphemous things towards God. I heard a lot of anger, a lot of cursing God out. I heard a lot of big time. People were angry.
Only people were making sounds. The demons weren't making any sounds, or whatever those creatures were.
Demons, yeah. Oh, that was. I was going to get to that. When the demons were communicating with each other, they have their own language, and their whole language hurt my body every time they talked. Every time they talked.
So you never understood what they were saying.
Oh yeah, you understand everything. I'm going to use the term. You overstand everything that they saying. What they was communicating back and forth, they were calling us stupid humans. When they were grabbing and torturing humans and doing all type of things, they were calling us stupid and they were laughing. They laugh, they enjoy it. Because what I found out and what I saw myself through my experience is that they get energy off our pain. They eat it. It's a form of food to them. It's like a drug to them. They get high off of it. That's why they're here on earth. They keep us depressed, angry, full of anxiety, because they're feeding off that. That's their food. They literally eat that. So they cause situations for you to feel that way so they can eat. They eat off that. And in hell, they have an abundance, nonstop supply of food because all they do is torture. They say if your arm gets ripped off, your arm will grow right back. Rejuvenate. And it happens over and over and over again. Like I say, I saw tons of people there where they were ripping over their mouth and pouring hot lava down their throats. They'll melt and they'll come right back and they'll do it all over again. And then they invite other demons to come and get their turn. Like I was also mentioning about promiscuous women who were there and men. But I saw my experience. I saw majority of what I saw with the women being raped by demons. This one lady was being raped and tortured so bad sexually that I'm not going to say it on here, but it's beyond horrible. But I'm talking about, it's and then some of the tortures are so bad. I still to this day, I can smell a certain smell, especially matches. I don't like the smell of matches at all because it brings me back to that. It reminds me of that. Yeah, it does, like PTSD big time. I don't like that. But
Your wife said you said something about I think it wasn't the last one I listened to actually. You said
All right,
you saw pastors and people like that there. Could you
Yeah.
explain?
Yes, you know what? And I saw, and a lot of them were still dressed in suits. Okay, there was like a cavern, like a cave, and a lot of them were just sitting there, like they were waiting. Well, the demons would come in, especially the giant ones, and snatch them up and throw them in boxes. They were throwing these pastors in boxes. They had all types of stuff for them. They had all types of, like, they had a field day with the pastors, the fake pastors. I'm going to be honest. A lot of them were just misusing their authority that God gave them. Okay. For one example, they threw this one pastor in a box, and it was an old, nasty box, but the box was filled with hot coals in it. So when they throw them in it and they close it, you can hear them. I mean, the screams are beyond, like, you can feel it. You can feel it's just the anguish and the pain. And they were throwing these things in them. They were stabbing this. They were ripping people apart. They were eating people, especially the pastors. They had they had a real good time with them. They were enjoying, like, really. A lot of people who I saw were a part of the church. Like I said, you can look at somebody in hell and know why they're there. There's no ifs and ands about it. Like, if somebody was to look at me, they'll know why I was there.
The people that were in church, what were some of the sins that they did? Like that
I saw more gossipers in hell than anything from the church.
Wow.
Gossip.
He said he saw more gossipers in hell than anything. People who are gossiping, sowing discord amongst the assembly, gossiping, saying something behind someone's back without bringing it to them to help them. That is gossiping and sowing discord. Now, if you saying something so you can go help that individual, totally different. You're looking to love your brother, and you also want to be sure as well. But if you're just saying it just to say it because you're not looking to help the individual, you're gossiping and you're sowing discord. Let's listen to what happens there.
Backstabbing, lust in the church, right? But the most of all was the gossiping, because people don't understand the power of gossip. They don't understand how powerful it is, how you can hurt somebody's life for just, you know what I mean? It was so many people down there for gossiping. You know, they smile in your face, but then, oh, look at Sister Clark, or look at brother so-and-so. But then you're in church praying with them instead of praying for them. See, when you talk about somebody's problem, you better have a solution. If not, it's gossip. Plain and simple. If you're going to talk about someone's problem, you better be willing to help that person. If not, don't talk about it and stay out of their business, because that's serious. God doesn't play with gossip. And I saw that firsthand. God does not play when it comes to gossip.
And the pastors that were there, were they like fake pastors in the sense of like, what were they doing exactly? Like, what did they do?
They were popcorn Christians. What I mean by popcorn Christianity is the term that me and my friends came up with, is because they're okay, like a popcorn kernel is hard, right? A kernel of popcorn. But when you apply heat to it, it puffs up and it turns soft. That's what they were. They were acting like they were really hardened for the Lord, that they were really solid, but then the heat and the pressures of the world turned them soft and they became worldly.
Okay.
And they're fake.
So
they
worldliness.
Yes. And a lot of them are, like I always say, intellectual parrots, meaning they know the scriptures inside and out. They sound good. They sound, but they don't live them. They don't live them. They fool the people. That's why I tell the people, it's not up to the pastor or your deacon or your bishop to establish your personal relationship with the Lord. That's up to you, because a relationship with the Lord is ultra personal. It's not their responsibility. And you can, even the Lord says, don't follow a man, because you never know who you are following. So why they think, oh yeah, brother told me to do this, or sisters told me to do this, and they're a man or woman of God, they lead you right to hell.
Wow.
Because you don't have.
I heard you said unforgiveness.
Let's go ahead and go to unforgiveness. Like you said, a lot of these, they'll lead you straight to hell. Now, if we hear the rhetoric that comes from Pastor Charles Dow, correct? He talks about how he's the epitome of all righteousness and how his ministry It's the only way you're going to reach glory or to Shemaim or to heaven. All while transgressing the commandments, all while being disobedient to Yah, and then telling the rest of the men that they need to follow him and listen to him and him only. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of these men, I'm trying to tell you now, do not study the book for themselves, especially the guys down in Houston. I'm just saying based on experience. It was one opportunity where I asked a question on an app, a group that we had. I asked them a question. I put my question in there in regards to a biblical question. I believe it had something to do with divorce and remarriage in regards to a scripture. And I said, without going back and studying or listening to one of Pastor Dow's videos, what can you guys recall about this topic of divorce remarriage? Man, they gave me all kind of just different answers that didn't pertain to the actual question. But then someone came on there and was like, well, you telling us not to listen to Pastor Dow. That's not good. You know what I mean? Like, why are you telling us not to listen to Pastor Dow? I'm like, well, I'm not telling you not to listen. I'm telling you just not to go back and listen to any videos, but just use your own brain, use your own memory as to what you studied, right? Because we're all tasked to learn this stuff. We're all tasked to have our own relationship. We're all tasked to do everything ourselves. Where they took it is that I was trying to sow discord and confusion because I told them not to go and jog their memories with Pastor Dow's videos, but just to use their own mind to answer the question. This is the reason why I know that a lot of them don't study on their own. They just listen to what Pastor Dow has to say and they keep it moving. Let's continue.
Forgiveness too. You said unforgiveness too, right?
I was going to mention that next. The top two. The top one is gossip. The next one is unforgiveness. You know how many people say, I forgive, but I won't forget? That's not forgiveness. See, when God forgives us, it's deleted from the universe. It's gone. He doesn't remember, clearly doesn't remember. You can try to say, hey, Lord, remember I did this? He's going to say, what are you talking about? Because it's been deleted from his heart. We don't do that. We say we forgive you and still have in the back of our mind reservations and judge that person and still kind of say, I'm just going to, and I saw so many people there for that. See, people don't understand. Yeah, we unqualify and disqualify ourselves from going to paradise. Paradise in heaven cannot have 1 ounce of filth in it. If so, you will corrupt it. So that's why we need the Lord as a mediator to make sure he washes us from that. Because we're all imperfect. We're going to fall. We're going to have flaws. But our relationship with him and his grace, he washes us clean from that so we can enter paradise. Because you cannot have one blemish on you. It's like if you have a fresh basket of apples and you put one in with a little mold on it, what's going to happen to the rest of those apples?
Your whole bunch is going to be spoiled.
Exactly. So therefore, we disqualify ourselves from getting into heaven because we're so blemished. And then we think we can do it on our own. We can't do it without him. There's no way we can cleanse ourselves the way we need to be cleansed to be on that frequency of heaven. So we disqualify ourselves all the time.
Some people would say that.
I said, all right, so that's all I really wanted to touch on there for his testimony. If you guys wanted to watch the testimony, the channel is called Know Christ. The testimony is called I Was Dead for 3 minutes. Hold on, wait, let me pop it on up. I was dead for 3 minutes and 47 seconds and went to hell. It felt like I was there for months, right? Dominic Morrow. Just go check it out. You can listen to the full testimony in its entirety and just to get this guy's testimony. The reason why I really wanted to have that testimony played is because not only did it go with today's topic of gossip, of showing of discord, of unforgiveness, of envy, things of that nature, things that are actively being done right now and that are going unchecked. Not only is it going unchecked because you want to protect the person's reputation, you want to avoid them having a contentious conversation or a strife or whatever you feel is going to happen from this conversation. But it's going unchecked because we're just used to it. We're just used to people who want to vomit bullshit in onto our laps. We're used to it. We're used to people wanting to vent. And we need to check that. We need to check that within ourselves, and we need to check that with other individuals, and allow them to understand that you will not be partakers in what they're saying, their gossip, what they're saying, whatever they have to say. If they have not brought it before that individual and spoken to that individual about it, then they need not to bring it up to you. You do not want to be a partaker of it, because your very involvement would make you just as accountable as them. I put myself on a sword once again, gave examples as to what my viewpoints were about this particular situation that Pastor Rufus mentioned. Just because, like I said, I've never experienced that. That wasn't my testimony that I had there. I never experienced that at all. If I could say, I made a Facebook video that was correcting some things that were incorrect about the rebuke that Pastor Dow put out there. And that's the reason why I was removed from the ministry of the Straightway. Outside of that, I rebuked a few brothers. I corrected a few brothers, and I also corrected myself when I was wrong. I was able to take accountability for self and apologize. But it was just things that were not discord or sowing of discord, because I always brought it to them. So I'll let you guys be the decision makers there. Also, you need to be sure that you're identifying, if you're the type of saint who is showing of discord, who's gossiping, who's doing any of these things, you need to identify that within yourself. And as well, you need to identify it with other saints, because there's a lot of them who do it, y'all. And you need not to fellowship with those saints. You need not to have conversations with those individuals until they can fix that. Let them know, hey, I need you to fix this, because you're talking about individuals and talking about their business that they repented for. Or you talking about their business that you didn't even talk to them about yet. You don't understand what I'm saying? But you're in private trying to sway me, trying to get me to side with you and feel a certain way about them. That's a sower of discord. When you're in private telling them about things, trying to get them to side with you against another individual and blocking this other individual's progress and blessings. So I want you guys to really ponder on this, y'all. Think about it. I really hope this is edifying for you all, that you were able to take something from this. We have to identify these things. This is a silent killer of our salvation. We wouldn't even know. We could be walking a perfect straight walk, and this gossip of going to someone else and slandering someone else, or trying to convince someone to not show us a position of support or sway them over to a different position, has got to stop. It has got to stop. It needs to be eradicated immediately, or else your very salvation will be at stake. This is the Warsheep Podcast, y'all. I'm your host, Barack. I appreciate you guys joining me today. And until we see you in the next video, peace and shalom. Holla at your boy. All right? Warsheep, we out. Peace.